Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Leadership Lunch Chat with myself and Jen Wilson. And we're happy to be with you here this week. And pretty much we're both feeling pretty pulled in all directions. And I think that's probably how most of you are feeling as well, and everyone that we work with. So we thought we'd talk about that today. What do we do when we are pulled in too many directions and literally can't figure out the time that we need to do just for ourselves and to reset? So I'll start it off with you, Jen.
Okay, great. So, Amy and I are talking about all the possibilities that we could talk about, and we decided that being overwhelmed and spread too thin, and having said too many yeses. That's what when you're feeling scattered and you're feeling pulled in lots of directions, and also a little bit like nothing's exactly perfect right this minute because you're really just rushing from thing to thing. When you're like that, the answer is, or the diagnosis is, too many yeses. I said too many yeses. That's the first, just sort of the harsh reality, as opposed to like, oh, my boss is making me do all this stuff, or my people in my life, aren't carrying enough weight, like trying to blame someone else for this scattered, overwhelmed set of circumstances that you might have. We have to be 100% responsible, and we have to say, oh, I've said yes too many times, or I have not delegated, maybe, as another possibility. I have not reset expectations. I have not moved things out of a frame because they're not practical or realistic. I'm just trying to act like everything's a yes. Everything's a yes, and not just a yes, but everything's a yes, like right now, or yes this week, or right now. Right before the call, this call, Amy and I were saying we're working on a project together, and I was like, if we're going to fit it in September, this is it, and we could say we're not fitting it in September. Wait a minute,
I already moved it to
yeah,
October.
mentally, but I mean, we could, so that's like an option instead of being now. Here's my problem. I have a million problems, by the way, but one of them is with this whole dialogue. I live in a world called I'm unstoppable. I can have it all. I'm going to make it happen. So I balance that with this idea called you're being completely impractical and going to kill yourself and others while you're doing this too many yes thing. So I want to just point out that at times, I will push you and myself and everyone else to be this unstoppable beast and have it all, but it's not practical. There's a lot of impractical things that happen when we say too many yeses, where we start to drop balls and we start to feel bad, and maybe we're not taking care of ourselves, and that is going to create total stop. Not just not being unstoppable, but being stopped cold or something.
Right.
And so balancing that, I think, is where I struggle most.
Yeah, and I'm the person that will say, no, we should push it to October. I can stop.
Hence the collaboration. Hence the excellent partnership that we have.
So I always talk about too, in just self-observation, you'll notice when you're in a state of overwhelm or pulled in too many directions, when you're kind of going through your day and all day long, you get frustrated maybe with the checkout person, and you have this issue with a family member and this issue with a friend. And by the end of the day, you're like, I was the common denominator in all of that. So we need to step back when we're feeling like this. And I know I have been feeling overwhelmed for a few weeks. And I know that what I don't want to do is get to a point where work isn't fun, because when you get to overwhelm, a lot of times what you do becomes not fun, because then it just feels like trudge and that you're just going through the muck. And it's important to step back to say, what can be put on hold and what can we stop doing. And, we did that as a team last week, actually set an afternoon aside, which is hard, with all of our schedules to do that. But really important that we are talking through, okay. And I think for most people, everyone was in the situation during COVID that you started doing all these other things that you normally don't do because of the situation of your business changing or things changing and so forth. But you didn't realize you're layering it on to everything that you always do. And so now you really have to step back and think about what are the things we want to be doing, in the whole list of tasks and work that we do. And so in order to make sure that you are creating the energy that you want for yourself, but also the people around you, it's important that you do take those pauses. And I definitely feel like, and I think so many people, that, when the world started going again, it's just been, how fast can we keep moving? Because we don't want this to stop. I'm afraid of it maybe stopping again. And so it's important that we are looking at what things are priority items, because not all of them are. And because we like what we do, and Jen and I are both, fortunate in the work that we do, that we get to choose the type of work and like the work that we do. That was one thing our team stepped back and looked at, is like, what do we like about our business, of the work that we do every day, and about our culture. And it was important to bring that out so we don't lose it. And it's important to communicate. Like right now, I know I'm probably stretched too thin I am, in too many areas. And I've had to clearly communicate in the last few days to people that work with me, I'm sorry. And not make excuses. I'm just overwhelmed right now. And I am the roadblock, right, of them getting things done that they need to get done. And so taking responsibility as a leader is just as important, but also then saying, okay, what can we do right now? And knowing that I'm the roadblock and I'm not going to be able to get to this for a few days or next week, what can we change in our workflow? And I think it's really important to have those open, honest conversations and not try to feel like you've got to be perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of perfect. My God, I want to be perfect, but I am so far from perfect that I'm way, way past trying to act like I am. But I get you about this idea of that transparent discussion and what do we keep and what do we stop and what do we start. And sometimes people hear that and they think that's kind of a strategic long range evaluation. I think it can be minute by minute. Like you can wake up in the morning and say, here's what's on my schedule today and tomorrow. Here's what I'm supposed to be getting done. Here are all the calls I'm supposed to be on. Here are my commitments. What am I going to keep because they are critical? What am I going to reset and stop or hand off or say no to or push to October or whatever, the stop part. And then what do I need to start doing so I don't blow up, whatever that is. For some of us listening, our fitness goes in the toilet when this is all happening. We just say, all right, well, I won't sleep and I'll miss all my exercise appointments or all my commitments to myself to exercise. And I'll just start kind of spiraling on the physical well-being, which is a recipe for disaster. And I'm pretty good about, my keep is always running or, some form of exercise. So I'll get that done 5 times a week or whatever. That's a keep for me. But many of us on this, listening to this, that's the first thing to go. And so maybe we need to put that on the start list because we let it go and it's gotta come up to a priority. Or sleep, maybe you're not as effective, not as focused, and you're certainly grouchier if you're letting sleep go. And that doesn't help you in this. And when you're in a corner, the last thing you need to be is grouchy,
Mm-hmm.
or snippy, or I don't know, any of those negative leadership attributes that repel people and don't make them want to help you. You know what I mean? So what could I start doing that would help me get recentered, whatever that is? And I love the idea of, there are 3 things I have to get done today. And I'm going to do them. And these are the 3, and everything else is either going to get pushed or it's going to be an option. And I'm going to tell the people attached to it that that's the case. And I'll apologize, like you said, without excuse, and say, right now I have said too many yeses. That's the excuse. And I am sorry that I have done that, but I have to push this until, or I'm going to need your grace to deliver this to you on Tuesday instead of on Friday as I hoped, or whatever. And we just reset those expectations and get ourselves right sized so that we're not fretful and running a really negative internal dialogue about ourselves, because that's not going to help. It's not good for our mental wellness. It's not good for the way that we come off to others. So those are some of the things I practice and try to pay attention to. And I need to do more of that right now. I need to stop and keep, stop, start daily, not like abroad. I have a call with my partners every other Friday, and we do stop and say core priorities. What are they for the organization? And that, believe me, that 2-hour call that we have every other Friday, I think about pushing it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very proactive thing to do. But what could I get done in those 2 hours? That is so important, that call, because it helps us sort of say, hey, you started up something over there and asked a bunch of our people to do it, and that's not on our top 3 list right now for the next 10 days. So let's put that thing to sleep, or back off of it, or change the dates so our people can focus on the top 3.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I just want to put out there, maybe you want to pick it up and talk about it a little bit, is the idea of continuing to do longer range things, even when you're in a short range emergency. That it's important that we not, like, for instance, we have a couple of positions we're filling, and and Emily on our team, who rides along with Amy and I on this StreamYard, is up to her eyeballs in that process right now. And I can't think of anything more important for her to be doing. You know what I mean? I just can't. So if she had said to me, and we should have done this, Emily, I know you're listening, Jen and Amy, run the StreamYard without me. I'm not.
This is when we go through our step back and
you could have said to me, "Hey, just run it yourself, ladies."
He's like, we could have had this discussion in a one-on-one, but now let's just put it all the way out on social media.
Why not? Well, I take responsibility. I should have let her off the hook. She's here. Right. She's doing an unreasonable and. She's doing all that stuff, and she's running in here to help me and support me in something she could have just said, "I'm delegating this to you, Jen. Handle it this week because I'm up to my eyeballs." So anyway, as a general rule, as a leader, when you're up to your eyeballs, so is everyone else. And our job is to figure out, how am I not only contributing to my own craziness, but theirs? What am I going to do to help them reprioritize? So anyway, just some thought.
Well, and I think the best thing is, again, just stepping back and trying to understand your own stuff first. You got to take care of your stuff and get yourself organized so that you can help others, because when you're feeling chaotic, then everything around you is going to feel chaotic as well. And so, whether it's what do you say?
Keep. I have to do it. I can't give it
whatever. Yeah.
Stop. I'm getting rid of it or telling it no, and then start.
Okay. So like kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I mean, I usually go by prioritizing the day. And for me, physical fitness of some sort is really important. Like, I can't let that go because it actually sets my mindset. So that never gets let go of. It's just how much time I have to do it and what I'm going to do. But I will figure out how to fit it in before my day starts. Some people can do it at the end of the day. I'm just not that person. But the one thing that I, know, because besides you have work stuff, you have personal stuff that is hard. And, you go through ups and downs in life of things that are happening to you personally. And I have known like I need to step back too from an emotional level and make sure that I am regulating that myself and taking care of those things. And part of doing that, which as much as I talk about it and I'm a yogi, is I am not as good at meditation as I am doing a yoga practice. Like yoga for me is meditative, running for me is meditative, but sitting still is one of the hardest things for me to do. Other people can do it really well. And so I've started putting that back in my daily practice, knowing that, and it doesn't have to be a long amount of time, but just those moments of allowing emotions and whatever needs to come up for you so that you can set for your day is really, really important. And sometimes in order to do something that maybe you don't enjoy, or so maybe physical fitness isn't something you enjoy, but you have to put it on your calendar, make sure you're doing it every day. It's just as important as everything else that you do. And so I'm getting up a little bit earlier and sitting down and meditating, even if it's just 10 minutes, because that's a really important thing. And then once you start making yourself do something, it will eventually become a habit for you. And you decide how long it serves you for, or if you want to go deeper. But I think it's really important um, to regulate your energy yourself and be very honest about what's going on for you internally so that you show up in the way that you want to show up to be able to prioritize with teams and everything else.
I completely agree. And I subscribe to Calm, and
Yeah,
Calm
in
puts a
headspace.
it puts a notification in my daily notification on my cell phone at some point. I don't know what time of day it's doing that, but it has something called the Daily Calm, which is somewhere between 10 and maybe 20 minutes max. But that it beckons me on my cell phone. It basically comes up like, I'm serious. It comes up like a reminder and says, "Hey, you need the Daily Calm right now." And every time it does, I'm like, I do, in fact, need the Daily Calm. And so that, I don't always answer her call, but I do try to do that 4 or 5 times a week now. Try to get a 10 or 11-minute one if I can find it on their app. But I don't have a hard time sitting still. And I don't really, my mind wanders and she calls it back. She's usually, when it's off thinking about what my grocery list or something, she calls me back to the breath. But gosh, I am so much better at pounding down whatever it is I wanted to focus on or do afterward. So
Mhm.
that is like just incredible. It really is all that everybody says that it is. If you could meditate more regularly, your brain will be calmer. It'll be
You're
more.
giving it time to process
Yeah.
instead of pushing at it and then it's doing this, right?
Well, it cleans itself off. I always picture it like a whiteboard.
Yeah,
While I'm doing it, she's wiping my brain clean.
right.
And then I can decide what to put back in it.
Yeah.
And that helps me so much, on execution and just thinking through what I need to do, as opposed to just monkey brain, where you jump from thought to thought to thought, all the stuff you've overcommitted on.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I thank you for bringing up meditation, because I do think that's a wonderful thing. And the other thing is just to talk it through with somebody else.
Mhm.
Amy and I came to this call and we're both like, I'm overwhelmed, and and she's like, me too. So it's helpful sometimes, not misery loves company, but just
Everybody
to
does.
just to get it out there, get it out of your mouth and out of your head, and just say it and acknowledge it, and then start saying, well, I'm committing now to do something about it. I'm not just going to keep staying in this state.
Right.
I'm going to shift some things. So
Well, and that's the biggest thing is taking action, right?
always.
Letting it, it's okay to let it go. And then it's what are you going to do about it? Yeah.
For sure.
Well, awesome. So hopefully we've processed and feel a little better after this call. And hopefully those that have joined us might find a few tips for themselves by living through our own overwhelm as well. So we hope you all have a great weekend, and thanks for joining in with us.
Yes. Thanks.